Hello, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the Global Mobility News program. I'm Christy, and today we're going to look at. In our first section, Global News, we'll see the economic trends for 2023, our industry, international mobility, business travel is very sensitive to changes in economies. In our second section, Technology and Global Mobility, we will see how artificial intelligence will considerably change the way the Global Mobility Manager works. In our third section, One City, we will see how expatriates perceive Mexico City, and we will give you some tips on how to enjoy your expatriation in this city. In our fourth section, Global Competencies, we will see what skills a director and manager working in a multinational company must acquire very quickly in order not to become obsolete. And finally, in our fifth and last section, Global Mobility Experience, we will focus on children in an expatriate family. Why parents should pay attention to their children's reactions during the first months of expatriation. I hope you will enjoy this program. Let's start. Our first section. Economic trends for the year 2023. Our international mobility business is very much dependent on the economic situation. COVID-19 and environmental awareness has greatly changed the expatriation and travel world, but the economic situation also has a huge influence on our industry. Inflation, the cost of energy increases, the price of airplane tickets, relocations, and virtual or remote meeting platforms allow to reduce some travel. But let's see what the year 2023 has in store for us economically. The war in Ukraine is generating a lot of uncertainty. It is the major factor of economic instability and inflation. Many parameters can change radically depending on whether the two belligerents make peace quickly or if the war lasts a long time. For these reasons, it is difficult to predict what the economy will be like in 2023. In general, though, many economists believe that the economy is likely to continue to grow in 2023, although at a slower rate than in recent years. Global trade could also continue to expand, although protectionist policies may limit growth in some areas. Advances in technology and the increasing role of automation are likely to drive economic growth, although in some areas this could lead to job losses. But there is the inflation rate, which could be a major concern for 2023. If the inflation rate gets too high, it could lead to a recession. Therefore, governments and central banks will need to be vigilant in monitoring inflation and implementing appropriate measures to keep it under control. Now our second section. Artificial intelligence, will it take the job of the Global Mobility Manager? Since the emergence of ChatGPT, there has been a lot of talk about artificial intelligence. Will it take the place of the Global Mobility Manager? AI is going to penetrate the world, and the position of International Mobility Manager, the job of the manager, is not going to disappear, it will evolve. The manager should not be afraid of AI, because this new technology will become his ally in his daily work, in his job of managing the company's expatriates. AI will become a tool that will take away a part of his administrative work. AI can help the International Mobility Manager, but it cannot replace him completely. AI can provide support and help with repetitive tasks, but an International Mobility Manager must be able to make complex decisions and meaningful judgments that cannot always be made by AI. When a multinational has a presence in 50 countries handling 1,500, 2,000 expatriates globally, the human mind cannot give a fine, deep insight into every situation, every expatriate and their family members in every country, too much data to cross-reference. Artificial intelligence will do it in minutes. The AI will allow the manager to focus less on migration issues, taxation, relocation. The AI will manage it more efficiently and quickly. The manager will have to update himself and acquire new competences because the evolution of the mission will be to focus more on the human part of the expatriation, the psychological, emotional, and intercultural part. International mobility managers will have to update their knowledge in cultural psychology and/or intercultural management. The objective of the evolution of the International Mobility Manager position is to be closer to the expatriates and their families, to generate a better empathy with them, to understand them in order to better accompany them in their adaptation process. The manager will have to know better the cultures of the different expatriates to give a personalized service. The problems of a Japanese will not be the same as those of an American in Mexico. The objective is to generate a cultural empathy with each one. Now our third section. One city, Mexico. Expats living in Mexico City see the city as a vibrant metropolis, full of life and opportunity. The city is home to a variety of cultures, including indigenous cultures, which offer expats various opportunities to explore. The city is rich in history and architecture, offering expats the opportunity to discover interesting and varied buildings, museums, and monuments. The nightlife in Mexico City is very lively, and there are restaurants, bars, and clubs for all tastes. Expats are also attracted to the city's more relaxed and less competitive lifestyle, as well as the warmth and friendliness of the Mexicans. The other advantage of living in Mexico City is the cost of living. If the expatriate comes from an Asian, European, or American country, then he will find the cost of living very low, which will increase his standard of living and quality of life. The highest cost will be housing, rent, and property, depending on the area the expatriate chooses to live in, but compared to cities such as New York, London, Tokyo, or Shanghai, the rent will seem very affordable. Is Mexico City dangerous? The answer depends on where you are in the city. Some parts of Mexico City are very dangerous, while others are considered safer. It is important to research the area you wish to visit and take the necessary precautions for your safety. As with any major metropolis, you should always be careful. Living in Mexico City, you are always surrounded by poverty, so be discreet, don't identify yourself as a potential target, and you will have a very rewarding experience in Mexico City and in Mexico as a culturally rich country. And now, our fourth section. Global competencies. 1. Global management. In this globalized business world, and with the emergence of new technologies, directors and managers must update themselves, evolve at the risk of becoming quickly obsolete. What skills do they need to acquire quickly? Global management is an important skill for directors and managers working in multinational companies because it allows them to effectively manage operations in multiple countries. Global management helps directors and managers to understand the cultural, political, and economic differences between countries and how to effectively manage teams and operations in those countries. This can help multinational companies to maximize their profits, successfully build relationships with customers and partners, manage multicultural teams, and ensure they are compliant with regulations in different countries. Global management also helps to ensure that the company can make decisions that are informed by the global context and account for different market conditions in different countries. 2. Cross-cultural leadership. Cross-cultural leadership is important for directors and/or managers working in a multinational company because it is essential for successful collaboration across different cultures. Cross-cultural leadership helps build relationships and trust between different teams and cultures, as well as encourages open dialogue and communication. It also helps to ensure the success of projects and initiatives that involve teams from different cultures and backgrounds, as well as provides insights into different perspectives, values, and ways of working. Finally, cross-cultural leadership helps to foster an inclusive and diverse work environment, which is beneficial for all employees and the organization as a whole. 3. Remote management. In addition to the cultural diversity that directors and/or managers must manage, they must add the distance. Today, team members are not necessarily in the same office or even in the same country. Teams will increasingly work on the same international projects, but from a distance, each in his own country. Companies are going to look for skills where they are, at the global level, to develop a project. The team will be formed for the duration of the project. This team will be composed of internal and external skills. In this context, the team leader will have to know how to manage a multicultural remote team by developing intercultural leadership. And finally, in our fifth and last section, global mobility experience, children's. A rule in expatriation: the smaller the children, the less they are a problem. Of course, you must always be attentive, as children may have more difficulty expressing their discomforts. It is up to the parent to be attentive, especially at the beginning of the expatriation. But you will see that very quickly they will be like a fish in water. On the other hand, the rule also works the other way around: the older the children are, the more they risk. It is not a rule either, but they can be a problem. Here I am clearly talking about teenagers. Often, they didn't ask to leave, and they don't want to leave. At this age, friendships are very important. Nobody wants to go 10,000 miles away and leave his or her fiancé behind. It is therefore very important for parents to be in contact, to listen, in order to detect signs of discomfort, anger, and frustration as early as possible. It is important within the family to create moments where everyone, including the parents, can express themselves. It is very important, especially during the first months of the expatriation, to communicate between family members, never leaving one member alone with his or her frustrations and problems. It is important to understand that cultural adaptation is a process and an effort that must be made. Adaptation is not innate. Adolescence is the time when one cuts the cord with one's parents, but one is not yet a full-fledged adult. It is a time of fragility, and expatriation can accentuate this fragility, the time for adaptation. Interculturality is not an exact science, so don't take all this as an absolute truth, just as a potential risk. Remember that communication is the key to a successful expatriation. That's all for today. I hope this information will be useful to you. We'll stay in touch and see you next week. Take care of yourself. And enjoy your expatriation. Subscribe to our Global Mobility News channel on YouTube and click on the yellow thumb and the bell to receive notifications of future news videos. Thanks, bye.